Rhonda, you said that you think Pat is insecure and you don't want an insecure man, okay? None of us do, sis. But I think you're the insecure one. I think you are the insecure one. The intro is too long, y'all. I'm gonna cut the intro down. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Tammy. This is Tammy Talks. We are gathered here tonight to talk Married at First Sight, Season 19, Episode 5, Trouble in Paradise. We are in the great state of Texas in a little city called Austin. Is it little? No shade, y'all. Don't attack me. I just in my head it sounded okay to say. If you guys are brand new to the channel, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, thumbs up the video, and then leave your comments down below. If you guys have hypes left for the week, please give me a hype. Y'all know I had to go of 50,000 subs by the end of the year. We got to have some perspective about ourselves, okay? We might not get there because we are 3,500 subs away, but we can get to 47,000. So if you guys are watching for the first time or the 10th and you have not yet subscribed, do me a favor. It's free. I don't ask y'all for no money. Just hit the subscribe button, all right? Let's go ahead and get right into the episode. I'm going to be real with y'all. I don't want to come on here every single recap and talk negatively about Brittany and Will. I don't. However, like I feel like I have no choice because we have reached a point in the show. We're on episode 5, and every episode that we have seen Brittany in, she is complaining about Will not wanting to have sex with her or be intimate. And we got to call a spade, right? If this was a man if Will was pressuring Brittany, we would have a lot to say about it, would we not? Everybody would just be okay, so we got to be fair about this. Like, and I'm gonna touch on it later, but Brittany leads with sex. I think Brittany is a woman that has always led with her body, right? She leads with the physical. And the fact that Will is unfazed by this, she doesn't know how to handle this. Right? We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. But let's start off with Megan and Derek. So they are leaving paddleboarding. And remember, her little feelings were hurt because he was like, you don't ask me anything. And, it's upsetting to me and my homeboys. So Derek is now feeling guilty for making Megan upset and for kind of blindsiding her. You didn't do anything wrong, Derek. You didn't do anything wrong. I think the fact that Megan got so about it is because she knew there was some truth to it. Right? Megan knew there was some truth to it. Megan wasn't as engaged with Derek as she knows that she should have been. But we know that Megan is on we here for a good time on the honeymoon type deal. She doesn't want to get into anything serious. She doesn't want to talk about anything too deep that will mess up her free vacation. But you didn't do anything wrong, Derek. Let her know. Like, you have to let her know. Communication. Okay? So Brittany and Will. Brittany feels that there are obstacles at every single time that they get. Low key, quiet as is kept, loud as is known. Brittany, you're the problem. You're the problem. And I know, like, I've seen the comments, and you guys feel like it's almost choked. Is that universe you trying to tell me something? I'm about to say some bullshit. But truth be told, I've seen the comments, and yes, Will is aloof sometimes, right? I told y'all how I felt about the with words. Y'all ain't never seen the argument like the argument that we would have had in that moment. But yeah, but I feel like at the same time too, how many times can a person tell you that they don't want to have sex with you? You know what I mean? And I know that they already had sex, but I don't blame Will. Y'all had sex. Y'all did not use condoms. Y'all did not use any contraceptive. Some of y'all were in the comments saying plan B, plan B. That's not contraceptive. You know what I mean? I want y'all to understand that. Like, don't. That's not contraception. Like, don't go in with that as a plan. Okay, if you need to use it, that is your body, your choice. But there are other things we should be doing before we get to that point. Just a little PSA. However, I just kind of feel like, why does Will have to keep telling you this every single time y'all are on screen? I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. So Will is asking her, like, is that something that you do often? And she was like, what, leave? Without saying anything. And I told y'all before, I was with Will with that. You said you were going to take a shower. You downstairs eating chicken fingers. Like, what's tea? You ain't even bring them back for him. So yeah, the fact that she did that, I thought was rude and disrespectful as well. So she was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. She then asks him if he was offended by her comparing him to Megan. And he was like, no, I wasn't offended by that. It's just a matter of, you said you asked the most questions and you're carrying everything and you're not. It's me. And I'm like, okay, look, I don't want to keep hearing this conversation over and over. I don't know if we need to get some B-roll footage. I don't know what needs to happen, but I am tired. I am sick and tired and sick of hearing y'all argue about who is asking the most questions. Because as where we stand now, neither one of y'all are asking questions. So what are we really arguing about? Okay. So he said, well, we can move on from this conversation. Brittany says nothing was resolved and nothing was resolved. Y'all are going to have to agree to disagree. So Brittany gets a little snippy. Okay, well, fine. I'll make a list and we'll do whatever you have to do to move the conversation along, Brittany. Okay. He gets up, walks around the bed, gives her a hug, kisses her, and it's like, look, I want us to learn to give each other grace, okay? I feel like if you need some space, I'm cool with that. If I need some space, I want you to be cool with that. But I want us to take that space and then come back together and try to figure out what is going on. And that's all y'all can do. That's it. That's all, okay? Megan and Derek. So they have talked and they have worked through their issue. It would have been nice if we could have saw, I guess. But Megan is like, look, I want to put in the work for us to move forward. She acknowledges that she is an avoider and she shuts down. She doesn't want to talk things through and she got to learn how to work on that. And she wants to learn how to work on that. That's the important part. So Derek lets her know, look, I want this to work too. Okay. So it looked like Derek was reading some questions off a phone or a card and they get to a question about kids. He wants two or three. She said, oh, we might need to start now. Now, I think they're one of the older couples. And when I say they're older couples, I think they're in their late 30s. I think. I don't remember anybody's age. So she said that she's worried about the pain of childbirth, and girl, same. Same. So we get to Rhonda and Pat and Brittany and Will. They are out on a little couples date bike riding situation. What I have loved so far about these honeymoons is we're not getting the couples intermingling too much. We have that's how David and Madison's asses ended up together last season, being together too damn much. So I'm happy that it seems like the couples are really spending more one-on-one personal time with each other, right? So they're on a little bike ride, and when they're done, Brittany is letting Rhonda know about the argument that her and Will have had. And Rhonda is like, you guys are great together. You just need to work on your communication. You guys are similar. Like they're bumping heads because both want to be in control of the communication, right? That's what it is. So Rhonda is telling Brittany that Pat just got out of a 3.5 year relationship just 6 months ago. I mean, honestly, personally, truly, to me, I think that there should be some type of time frame before you can apply for the show. And you getting out of, albeit a long relationship 6 months ago, you're not ready. You're not ready. And we see it in Patrick right now. He don't give a damn about Rhonda's ass. So Pat was upset by Rhonda's reaction, and now Rhonda is questioning if Pat is really ready. She then goes on to say that Pat is sensitive and insecure, and she don't want no insecure ass man. But like, hold on a minute, Rhonda. You're being insecure right now, right? Because instead of you being like, okay, I know that he's ready for me, and I'm the best wife for him, and he's this, that, and the other, that. You're not doing that. You're not being insecure about whether or not he's there for you because he really wants to be with you. Hey, pot me kettle. Like, don't do that. Don't do that, Rhonda. I see what your kids were talking about. You are a lot. I feel like every scene, Rhonda is a lot. And I feel like Rhonda's very controlling. And Rhonda is going to run Pat ragged because Rhonda gives is her way or the highway. And we see a lot more of that later. So Pat said that they're talking to Will, said that there are some concerns when it comes to him and Rhonda, but he hope it works. It's just going to require some work. Will is telling Pat that he and Brittany have different communication styles and they just got to navigate through it, right? Brittany needs to tuck her fucking thirst in. Tuck your thirst in and maybe y'all will have some sex again. We're on a group activity at a catamaran. Nothing really happened there. They're kind of jumping off in the water. Everybody's having the time. Jalen reluctantly jumps off with who's she married to? Josh and Belinda. Her mama is like, ooh, and Chad was like, she there with her husband. She okay. We here with ours. Okay, don't worry. Don't worry about them. So later that night, we get to Megan and Derek. So they're outside having dinner, and child, a howler monkey is just roaring the way I would have packed up my plate and been like, y'all ready to go inside now? Because I'm not about to be out here with no wild monkey roaring and carrying on like that. He don't want y'all out there, and I don't want to be out there with you. Okay? Me and the monkey would have had a misunderstanding because I'm going to go inside because this is you. This your spot. I am in your life, sir. Okay? But I mean, white people, y'all like wildlife, don't y'all? And it's no shade, but I mean, me, myself personally, couldn't. So, Brittany and Will, they are once again having a conversation about how to stay happy. And Brittany said that her idea of getting to happy is different than his. And I just kind of feel like Brittany doesn't know how to be in the moment. Jesus. Brittany is chasing after what she deems as her specific level, her trophy of what she believes happiness is. And if she is going through a different path to get there, it is stressing her out because it's not the path that she wants. I 1000%, I'm going to reiterate this. I believe that Brittany is a woman that is led with her body. Brittany has led with sex. Sex has gotten Brittany in some of these relationships. And I think the fact that he doesn't care about that. Will said the first episode that he is more attracted to a woman's intellect than he is to her body. And Brittany does not know how to deal with that. And I feel like Will needs to just tell her that. Okay? Will needs to just tell her that. Rhonda and Pat. So they are at a cocktail making class, and Rhonda, she want to circle back to the conversation of him just getting out of a relationship. So Rhonda feels that, look, it wasn't about you. I just tried to express myself because I was trying to process these things. Pat was like, okay, cool. But I felt judged. Your eyes did a thing, and I felt judged, and I felt very small. Rhonda is saying that she just needed to protect herself in that moment. And I'm like, Rhonda, that's your insecurity, baby. That's yours. And you're projecting that onto Pat, and that's not fair. Rhonda then goes on to say that she felt smothered because they have been together 24 hours a day and she needs some me time because she's not used to this. So when we get home, if I want to go take a 2-mile walk, don't you bring your ass outside and follow me. Right? She then tells him not to be insecure. Tell yourself, go look in the mirror and say, self, Rhonda, I will not be insecure today, because I think you both need that pep talk. Rhonda believes that in a marriage that Rhonda believes that in a marriage that you can't be insecure. You got to be real sure of yourself. And I feel like you should be sure of yourself whether you're single or married, right? However, I see what Rhonda is saying, but Rhonda is not giving Pat that reassurance that that he needs to feel that way. I feel like every time we see Rhonda and Pat, she is bitching about something when it comes to him. No wonder her and Brittany went bike riding together. Pat is like, well, damn, I didn't think this would be as hard as it is seeming to be to me. My God. Josh and Jalen. They talk about their childhoods, and he's talking about how he grew up with little to no money. And she was like, shoot, I grew up privileged. I had everything. I'm like, oh, girl, read the room. My God. But they talk about how they want to raise their children. Now, not Brittany, Jalen. Jalen went to college and did all these different things that her parents did not do, right? In regards to Josh, Josh did not go to college, but Josh is still very successful. So they agree that, yeah, we're going to recommend college to our kids, but we're not going to force it because you can be very successful without going to college. So they also talk about how they want to show their kids that they are in love and what a loving relationship is, because remember, Jalen is one of the three people that said they never saw their parents show love, they never saw their parents show affection, and she wants that for her kids. She wants her kids to get to the point where they're like, get a room. They want their kids to grow up in that loving environment. Okay, so so far I like them. I feel like they're leading with lust, truth be told, but we'll see what happens when they get back to Austin. Belinda and Chad. Okay, so they're out at dinner, and Chad is asking because Belinda wants them to like do some romantic things. Like she wants romance in the marriage. So Chad is like, okay, cool. What kind of things do you want to do? You want to go to plays? You want to do like a comedy show, a musical? And Rhonda was like, I don't think we have to do anything out of the ordinary. We can just be at home. And Chad was like, we can, but like, don't you want like roses and candles? She was like, yeah, but I also feel like hugs and kisses are romantic as well. So they are gonna have to compromise. And he was like, okay, I mean, I get you. I can do that. But if I come home with some roses, don't try to So what I do like about Chad and Belinda is that when they give each other feedback and they're trying to learn more things about each other, it's great. You know what I mean? Nobody feels attacked. Like, I feel like they have really good communication. They're very open and they are both willing to accept feedback, okay? However, we then get a conversation prompted by production, obviously, where they are supposed to tell what they like about the other person, okay? Or what they appreciate about the other person. Belinda says she likes the way that Chad balances her and makes her, nope, 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 nope. That's what he said. Hold on, y'all. Okay. Belinda said she likes how he's giving and how he's a family guy. And she said that little by little, she can see herself falling in love with him. They're going to get there. Chad was like, okay, I like the way that you balance me and make me feel special. And then he like loses his thought. And he is just sitting there like, can't think of anything, right? So he loses his thought. So production is like, I need you to do. And so he gets snippy with production and was like, I'm thinking, we're having a conversation, yo. And he didn't say it like super aggressive, but it was snippy. It was rude, right? It had a tone. So next thing you know, he want to leave the restaurant because he's tired. I said, well, y'all done eating? Okay, cool. So later in bed, Belinda is clearly feeling away, and she lets him know that she felt that he was disrespectful. And he was like, to you? And she was like, no, but I, the way that you treat me is important too, but the way that we treat others is just as important. Chad doesn't think he did anything wrong. He said, I was frustrated. And Belinda is like, okay, cool, but I want you to think of me even when you're frustrated, right? Chad is uncomfortable with this. He's like, look, I'm the one that's used to barking orders at people. This is hard for me, right? Chad is not used to having somebody tell him, talk, speak, do this, do that, go here, go there, go there. And it does take a while to get used to the cameras. And these are not younger people, right? These are older people. So they, they don't care about these damn cameras like that. Not for real. He apologizes and it's like, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you felt that I was disrespectful, then I apologize. I didn't mean for it to come out that way. I was just frustrated, whatever the case. But Linda gets emotional and she was like, okay, but it's not easy for me to get over things. Now, I'm going to be real with you, Belinda. He didn't do anything to you specifically, right? If you are upset that he was rude to production, cool. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Voice your concerns about that. But for you to feel as if you can't get over that easily, like, is there more that we didn't see? Because if we're talking about just that little snippet, I mean, I don't know, maybe she was a service worker at one point in time and it triggered something, but I was like, wow, okay. I appreciate her standing up for production though. I do, because we have seen some people be rude to production over the years. So she is now afraid to speak up about certain things because she doesn't want she doesn't want him to start to resent her because he feels like she's not on his side. And he was like, bump all that. Say what you want to say. Okay. There are no sides. If you feel like I'm doing something that you don't like, let me know. Voice it. And I said, okay, Chad. Okay, Chad. And so she was like, okay, can you not, mess up as much? They have a little laugh about it. And so far, so good. I like how they handled this. And then we get over to this dark cloud of a relationship, Brittany and Will. And I'm like, ugh. Of course, Brittany's in the mood. Why? Because Will does not want to be intimate again. And she feels rejected. And I'm like, Brittany, baby. Mm, 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 mm. So Will said, look, we had a good day. Okay. And I apologize if my delivery was not if it was a way, okay? But I want us to be more prudent with sex. Okay. So basically, Will wants them to wait and she doesn't want to again. Brittany said, you know what? It's hard to move forward when you feel rejected. I don't want to be married to someone who doesn't want to talk to me, that's distant, and doesn't want to be intimate. Look, Brittany, look. Y'all had sex. Y'all did not take the proper precautions. You said that you had a slight panic, okay? You reacted in a way that caused Will to say, you know what? Let's fall back from it. Let's fall back from it. Y'all have been married for what, 5 days at this point, and you are all. If the roles were reversed and this were Will pressuring Brittany, it would not be going over well with the public or with the show. And I think Brittany has to fucking relax. Girl, act like you don't have some sex before. But again, I feel like Brittany leads with sex. And it makes me wonder if Brittany does not know how to be in a relationship without sex. It makes me wonder if Brittany feels that all she has to offer is sex. And I hate that for her. I hate that for her. But the way that every other scene, like, girl, is and here's the thing. He respects you and not to just sit there and fuck you like that. That's what I don't understand. Oh, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. So, Ronda and Pat. Ronda is nervous about moving in with Pat, hasn't lived with somebody since 1999. I said, child. So, she stresses that they will need to do things separately. She tells him, look, we're going to have our individual lives. And I want to be like, Ronda, are you sure you want to be married? Because I feel like Ronda just needed a little fuck buddy. Because the way that Ronda keeps stressing individualism, individual lives, don't do this with me, don't do that with me. I don't think that Ronda is ready for marriage. Ronda is the insecure one. Pat's ready. Pat's ready. I think the issue is Ronda. Okay, so we end up with Derek and Megan, and she's telling him that he can play his EDM music from 9 to 3 while she's at work. After 3, it is only country, all the time. Going to put on that Cowboy Carter. This ain't Texas. Let me know what you guys thought about episode 5. Subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.